family rule almost sent you all to the grave. My sister required everyone to whisper in her presence because she claimed normal volume voices physically hurt her, so my entire family lived in constant whispers, unable to speak normally in our own home for fear of causing her pain. It almost ended all our lives. My sister Zoe had always been sensitive to sound. As kids, she'd cover her ears during thunderstorms and cry at birthday parties when people sang, but when she turned 15, she read about auditory processing sensitivity online and decided she had a severe case. She started wearing noise-canceling headphones everywhere and flinching dramatically at normal conversation. Our parents took her to specialists who found nothing wrong, but Zoe insisted doctors didn't understand her condition. She began training us to modulate our voices around her, claiming our aggressive volume was destroying her nervous system. We thought it was just Zoe being dramatic until she started enforcing consequences. The rules came with a laminated volume chart. Level 1 was therapeutic whisper, was the only acceptable volume for all communication near Zoe. Anything above that was assault volume. She'd hold a decibel meter during conversations, documenting violations. If we spoke normally, she'd collapse to the floor, screaming that we were torturing her with sound. "You're killing me," she'd wail if someone forgot to whisper. Our parents made us attend family voice therapy, where we practiced whispering for hours. The therapist, who Zoe had found online, taught us that vocal violence was real, and we needed to protect Zoe from our naturally aggressive voices. We signed contracts promising to whisper in her presence. She posted signs throughout the house. Whisper zone. Normal voices are violence. Even clearing your throat too loudly would send her into hysterics about our cruelty. Living in whispers warped everything natural about family life. Dad would whisper at the TV during football games, his excitement reduced to breathy touchdowns, while the crowd roared from the speakers. Mom won $5,000 on a scratch-off and whispered, "We won," like she was sharing a death announcement. My boyfriend broke up with me through text because he couldn't handle whispering every conversation at our house. He said it felt like shame, not intimacy. Every time I had some space from Zoe, I'd beg my parents to take a stand against her rules, but they said the most important thing was keeping the peace. They told me living with Zoe was good practice for dealing with difficult people later in my life. "I don't even notice the whispering anymore," Mom said. "You'll get used to it too," but I never did. How do you get used to whispering happy birthday like a funeral hymn while your sister monitors you with a meter? Or when my grandma whispered and forgot the rules, her normal voiced "Hello, sweetie," sent Zoe to the emergency room in an ambulance. She convinced the paramedics to turn off their sirens and communicate in whispers. School became my only escape where I could speak normally, but Zoe got the administration to create a quiet zone around her. Students had to whisper in hallways when she passed. Teachers restructured classes, using written instructions instead of verbal ones. She carried cards explaining her condition, and made anyone who might speak near her sign liability waivers. The whole thing was ridiculous, but it wasn't dangerous, until the night I smelled smoke at 2 a.m. Zoe had left a candle going in the living room, and now the curtains were up in flames. I needed to wake everyone immediately, but years of conditioning had trained me to whisper even in crisis. I stood in the hallway, smoke beginning to fill the air, and whispered, "Fire, there's a fire." I went to my parents' room, whispering urgently at their door. Nothing. I pushed inside and whispered directly in Mom's ear. She mumbled and rolled over. The smoke was getting thicker. I shook Dad, whispering, "Fire, wake up." He couldn't hear me over the white noise machine Zoe required in every room. My throat burned from smoke and whispering. I ran to Zoe's room, knowing that any volume above a whisper would cause chaos, but having no choice. The smoke alarm hadn't gone off because Zoe had made us disable them. The sound was violence. I stood at her door, paralyzed between years of training and the immediate need to save my family. Finally, I screamed, "Fire!" at full volume. Zoe erupted from her room, not fleeing but attacking me for the assault, while smoke poured through the hallway. I shoved past her and ran to my parents, screaming for them to wake up while Zoe fell to the floor in convulsions, despite the fire around her. We lost half the house, and the firemen said if we'd stayed in for 2 more minutes, we would have all lost our lives. Instead of being grateful, Zoe filed assault charges against me. She told the fire marshal I'd started the fire myself as an excuse to scream at her. "She's been looking for a way to assault me with her voice for years," Zoe said. So she lit the fire and waited until it spread to have her excuse. The marshal found the disabled smoke alarms suspicious, even though I told them it was Zoe who'd turned them off. Zoe produced her recordings of every whisper violation I'd committed over the years, painting a picture of someone who hated the restrictions. She knew fire was the only excuse that might justify violence, Zoe explained, so she created one. My parents sat silent as the marshal questioned them. My mother looked like she might believe Zoe's horrible story. "She tried to kill us all just so she could scream," Zoe said, and Mom hesitated. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but no sound came out. Years of whispering had finally stolen my voice completely. The next thing I knew, I was in handcuffs and arrested for arson. Full story on the channel below.